Cod replied, "Who, my friend, would determine thy budget?" "I would make it for myself," responded the protesting one. "In that case, were a pack-ass to budget his burden, would he include therein jewels and rugs, heavy bars of gold?" "Not so. He would include a hay and grain, and a bag of water for the desert trail." "The purpose of a budget is to help thy purse fatten. It is to assist thee in having thy necessities, and insofar as attainable, thy other desires. It is to enable thee to realize thy most cherished desires by defending them from casual wishes. Like a bright light in the dark cave, thy budget shows up the leaks from thy purse and enables thee to stop them and control thy expenditures for definite and gratifying purposes. This, then, is the second cure for a lean purse. Budget thy expenses that thou mayest have coin to pay for thy necessities, to pay for thy enjoyments and gratify thy worthwhile desires without spending more than 9/10 of thy earnings. The third cure, make thy gold multiply. Behold, thy lean purse is fattening. Thou hast disciplined thyself to leave therein 1/10 of all thou earnest. Thou hast controlled thy expenditure to protect thy growing treasure. Next, we will consider the means to put thy treasure to labor and increase. Gold in a purse is gratifying to own, and satisfieth a miserly soul, but earns nothing. The gold we may retain from our earnings is but a start. The earnings it will make shall build our fortunes. So spoke Arcad upon the third day to his class. How therefore may we put our gold to work? My first investment was unfortunate, for I lost it all. It is a tale I will relate later. My first profitable investment was a loan I made to a man named Agar, a shield maker. Once each year did he buy large shipments of bronze brought from across the sea to use in his trade. Lacking sufficient capital to pay his merchants, he would borrow from those who had extra coins. He was an honorable man. His borrowing he would repay, together with liberal rental as he sold his shields. Each time I loaned to him, I loaned back also the rental he had paid to me. Therefore not only did my capital increase, but its earnings likewise did increase. Most gratifying was it to have these sums returned to my purse. I tell you, my students, a man's wealth is not in the coins he carries in his purse, it is the income he buildeth, the golden stream that continuously floweth to his purse and keepeth always bulging. That is what every man desireth, that is what thou, each one of thee, desireth. And income continueth to come whether thou work or travel. Great income I have acquired, so great that I am called a very rich man. My loans to Agamar were my first training and profitable investment. Gaining wisdom from this experience, I extended my loans and investment as my capital increased. From a few sources at first, from many sources later, flowed into my purse a golden stream of wealth available for such wise uses as I should decide. Behold, from my humble earnings I had begotten a horde of golden slaves, each laboring, earning more gold. As they labored for me, so their children also labored for their children's children, until great was the income from which their combined efforts. Gold increased rapidly, making reasonable earnings, as thou wilt see from the following. A farmer, when his first son was born, took 10 pieces of silver to a moneylender and asked him to keep it on rental for his son until he became 20 years of age. This the moneylender did, and agreed the rental should be 1/4 of its value each 4 years. The farmer asked, because this sum he had set aside as belonging to his son, that the rental be added to the principal. When the boy had reached the age of 20 years, the farmer again went to the moneylender to inquire about the silver. The moneylender explained that because this sum had increased by a compounding interest, the original 10 pieces of silver had now grown to 30 1/2 pieces. A farmer was well pleased, and because his son did not see the coins, he left them to the moneylender. When the son became 50 years of age, the father's meantime have passing to the other world, the moneylender paid the son in settlement 167 pieces of silver. Thus in 50 years had the investment multiplied itself at rental almost 17 times. This then is the cure for a lean purse, to put each coin to laboring that it may reproduce its kind, even as the flocks of the field, and helping bring to thee income, a stream of wealth that shall flow constantly into thy purse. The fourth cure: guard thy treasures from losses. Misfortune loves a shining mark. Gold in a man's purse must be guarded with firmness, else it be lost. Thus it is we must first secure small amounts and learn to protect them before the gods entrust us with larger. So spoke Arcad upon the fourth day of his class. Every owner of gold is tempted by opportunities whereby it would seem that he can make large sums by investing it in the most plausible projects. Often friends and relatives are eagerly entering such investments and urge them to follow. The first sound principle of investment is security for thy principal. It is wise to be intrigued by larger earnings when thy principal may be lost. Is it wise to be intrigued by larger earnings when thy principal may be lost? I say not. The penalty of risk is probable loss. Study carefully before parting with thy treasure, each assurance that it be made safely reclaimed. Be not misled by thine own romantic desires to make wealth rapidly. Before thou loan it out to any man, assure thyself of his ability to repay and his reputation for doing so, that thou may not unwittingly be making him a present of thy hard-earned treasure. Before thou entrust it as any investment in a field, acquaint thyself with the dangers which may beset it. My own first investment was a tragedy to me at the time. The guarded savings of a year I did entrust to a brickmaker named Asmir, who was traveling over the far seas, and the Tir agreed to buy for me a rare jewel of the Phoenicians. These would sell upon his return and divide the profits. The Phoenicians were scoundrels and sold him bits of glass. My treasure was lost. Today my training would show me at once the folly of entrusting a brickmaker to buy jewels. Therefore do I advise thee from the wisdom of my experiences. Be not too confident of thine own wisdom in entrusting thy treasures to possible pitfalls of investment. Better by far to consult the wisdom of those experienced in handling money for profit. Such advice is freely given for the asking man, and readily possessed as a value and equal in gold to the sum thou considerest investing. In truth, such is the actual value if it save thee from a loss. This then is the fourth cure for a lean purse, and of great importance if it prevent thy purse from being emptied once it become well filled. Guard thy treasure from loss by investing only where thy principal is safe, where it may be reclaimed if desired, and where thou wilt not fail to collect a fair rental. Consult with wise men. Secure the advice from those experienced in the profitable handling in gold. Let their wisdom protect thy treasure from unsafe investments. The fifth cure: make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. If a man setteth aside 9 parts of his earnings upon which to live and enjoy life, and if any of these 9 parts can turn into a profitable investment, without detriment to his well-being, then so much faster will his treasures grow. So spake Arcad to his 5th class this lesson. All too many of our men of Babylon do raise their families in unseemly quarters. They do pay to exacting landlords liberal rentals for rooms where their wives have not a spot to raise the blooms that gladden a woman's heart, and their children have no place to play their games except in the unclean alleys. No man's family could fully enjoy life unless they do a plot of ground wherein the children can play in the clean earth, and where the wife may raise not only blossoms but good rich herbs to feed her family. To a man's heart it brings gladness to eat the figs from his own trees and the grapes of his own vines. To own his own domicile, to have it a place he is proud to take care for, putteth confidence in his heart and a greater effort behind his endeavors. Therefore do I recommend every man own the roof that sheltereth him and his. Nor is it beyond the ability of any well-intentioned man to own his own. Hath not our great king so widely extended the walls of Babylon, that within them so much land is now unused, and may be purchased at sums most reasonable? Also I say to you, my students, that money lenders gladly consider the desires of men who seek homes and lands for their family. Readily may thou borrow to pay a brickmaker and the builder for such commendable purposes. If thou can show a reasonable portion of the necessary sum which thou thyself hast provided for the purpose, then when the house be built, thou canst pay the money lender with the same regularity thou didst pay the landlord, because each payment will reduce thy indebtedness to the money lender, and a few years will satisfy the loan. Then will thy heart be glad, because thou wilt own in thy own right a valuable property. Thy only cost will be the king's taxes. Also wilt thy good wife go more often to the river to wash thy robes, that each time returning she may bring a goatskin of water to pour upon the growing things. Thus come many blessings to a man who owneth his own house, and greatly will it reduce his cost of living, making available once more of his earnings for the pleasures and gratification of his desires. This then is the fifth cure to the lean purse. Own thy home. The sixth cure. Ensure a future income. The life of every man proceedeth from his childhood to his old age. This path of life no man may deviate from unless the gods call him prematurely to the world beyond. Therefore do I say that it behooves a man to make preparation for suitable income in the days to come, when he is no longer young, and to make preparations for his family should be no longer with them comfort to support them. This lesson shall instruct thee in providing a full purse when the time is made thee less able to learn. So Arcad addressed upon his class on the sixth day. The man who because of his understandings of the laws of wealth acquireth growing surplus should give thought to the future days. He should plan certain investments or provisions that may endure safely for many years. Yet will it be available when the time arrives which he has so wisely anticipated. There are diverse ways by which a man may provide safety for his future. He may provide a hiding place and there bury a secret treasure, yet no matter with what skill be it hidden, it may nevertheless become the loot of thieves. For this reason I recommend not this plan. A man may buy houses for land or lands for this purpose, if wisely chosen, as their usefulness and value in the future, they are permanent in their value, and their earnings or their sale will provide well for his purpose. A man may loan a small sum of money to a money lender and increase it at regular periods. The rental which the money lender adds to this will largely add to its increase. I do know a sandal maker named Anson, who replied to me not long ago that each week for 8 years he had deposited with his money lender 2 pieces of silver. The money lender had but recently given him an account over which he greatly rejoiced. The total of his small deposits, with the rental at the customary rate of 1/4 their value for each 4 years, had now become 1,040 pieces of silver. I did gladly encourage him further by demonstrating to him with my knowledge of the numbers that in the 12 years or more he would keep his regular deposits of but 2 pieces of silver each week. The moneylender would then owe him 4,000 pieces of silver, a worthy competence for the rest of his life. Surely when such a small payment was made with regularity doth produce such profitable results. So no man can afford to not insure a treasure for his old age and the protection of his family, no matter how prosperous his business and investments may be. I would that I might say more about this. In my mind rests a belief that some day wise-thinking men will devise a plan to insure against death, whereby many men pay in but a trifling sum regularly, the aggregate making a handsome sum for the family of each member who passeth to beyond. This do I see as something desirable, and which I could highly recommend. But today is not possible, because it must reach beyond the life of any man or any partnership to operate. It must be as stable as the king's throne. Some day do I feel that such a plan shall come to pass and be a great blessing to many men, because even the first small payment will make available a snug fortune for the family of a member who should he pass on. But because we live in our own day, and not in the days which are to come, we must take advantage of the means and ways of accomplishing our purposes. Therefore do I recommend to all men that they by wise and well thought out methods do provide against a lean purse in their mature years. For a lean purse to a man no longer able to earn, or to a family without its head, is a sore tragedy. This then